Hey, good morning.
Hey, how's it going, Greg? Doing all right today?
I am Colin. How are you?
Oh, I'm glad it's fucking Friday, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
Uh, it's been a loaded up week, that's for sure. So,
Yeah, my this idea of running all over Texas is it's a long way from one side of it to the other.
yeah, I did I went I did a little bit of school in Blinn and College Station, and then I did a project out in Lubbock at Texas Tech. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah, that's a haul from A&M to College or College Station to Lubbock.
yeah. Well, I think after I left after I left the Bryan area, I went and moved back home for a little while, lived at the beach for a little bit, and then had to
Where
grow up and get a real job. So
where's home?
down in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Oh wow, very nice.
So
How'd you make it to? Did you go to A&M or start out at Blinn and then go to A&M?
well, so I got out of high school. I was a track and field All American. So A&M offered me a scholarship, but they're I guess in track and field and other sports kind of works a little different. You go through blend. And so I went to Blinn because Blinn had a better, at that time, a better track and field program. Actually, they were 11-time JUCO champions when I went there. So,
Wow.
yeah. And then, but then I ended up diagnosed with some sciatica and all that stuff. And the whole sports thing kind of went out the window. But I rebounded pretty good, I think. So, yeah. I ended up I think it was a 280 unit project in Lubbock. Yeah.
Oh well.
So Lubbock's definitely an interesting place, man. You blink and the weather changes. So I think we had
Yeah, I grew up
I think
in.
we had
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just saying I grew up in Wichita Falls, but my uncle was a professor at Tech, and so we would go,
Okay.
nearly every Thanksgiving and holiday, as I
Yeah.
was a kid, go back and forth from Wichita Falls to there. But so I know Lubbock
Okay.
pretty well. Like I said, visited a lot. When I was in college, I dated a few girls that went to Texas Tech, so I made runs up to Lubbock to always, there were a lot of pretty girls up
There
there in
you
North
go.
Texas.
Yeah. You know where uh area called the Cottages of Lubbock at the time.
No, I'm not
Um
familiar with that.
yeah. You know where the who's the rich guy who he got the bronze statue down there? The big booster, I think. But anyways, yeah, we did 8 city blocks worth of development for the student housing up there. So
Oh, wow,
it
very
was
nice.
but
Back then, my focus wasn't much other than college
yeah,
parties, girls.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Well,
my
that's how
focus
I
wasn't
was.
really on any other areas.
Yeah,
Besides when I was a kid,
that's
going up there to visit aunts and uncles and going to the Texas Tech games. But by the time I was in college, man, I was, going to the fraternity houses and just up to no good, to be honest with you.
yeah,
Had a lot of
yeah,
fun.
that's how it was. That's how it was at Blinn. We go up to obviously we go up to College Station all the time. Yeah, I think at the time A&M had 55,000 students, and hell, I was actually there. I think it was the last year, the second to the last year they had the bonfire. So
Oh, wow.
if that tells you my age.
Well,
So,
I was thinking, how long? I don't even know. It doesn't seem like the bonfires have ended that long ago,
yeah, this was I think
but
it
it's hard to
ended
remember
in
when
90.
that's.
I think it ended in 95, and I was up there in 93, 94.
All right. Well, heck,
Yeah,
we're not
so
far from each other in age. I was uh
yeah.
I was at Texas State or Southwest Texas in San Marcos between 90 and 93,
Okay.
and then kind of got into Austin. And
Yeah.
crazy enough, I went to in '95. My first construction job was working for a home builder in Pensacola, and so I spent 5 years from '95
Oh,
to
okay.
2000. So I got to know Gulf Shores and spent a lot of time in that area. I loved it. I mean, it's still one of my
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
places that I lived. I still call it LA. It's just lower Alabama when you're in Pensacola because
Yeah.
it's just the people and the beach. I mean, I tell everybody, there's no prettier beach than I've ever seen in my
Oh,
life. Now, I
yeah.
mean, you can talk about California and the waterfalls going back into the ocean and all that, but that sand and that water combination, it's as pretty as anything I've ever seen. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
I didn't realize how spoiled I was growing up around in the area, and till I left it, and then
Yeah. It
but
was it was odd to me how people would eat mullet. I mean, just growing up in
oh
Texas,
yeah,
we didn't eat mullet, man. The mullet was nasty because it was a bottom feeder,
yeah,
and the bottom of our beaches were pretty nasty. But
yeah,
to go out there and see the mullet toss, and then also
yeah.
I got first introduced to flounder gigging at night. Holy cow, that's some
Oh
fun.
yeah,
That's good
yeah.
living right
Flounder
there.
gigging and soft shell crabbing. When the moon comes around and tides are low,
Yeah.
just did more drinking than we did crabbing. But
Well, there's that, but that's part of it.
yeah,
It's a lot of fun
but
for young men and
oh
women
yeah.
nowadays.
Well, you got to imagine. For 3 years, my after I left Blinn, my job was literally I was the jet ski rental guy on the beach.
No kidding.
Um,
That's fun. That's a great job.
so yeah, and I had 5 roommates with a house right across the street from the public beach at Gulf Shores. So anything I wanted to experience, I got to experience pretty early.
Yes, you did.
But so so how familiar are you with, I guess, Procore? I guess that just kind of the
Yeah, jump
give me
out
kind
there.
of a
Well,
up, update and background on it.
I mean, I'm, I have used databases like it
Yeah.
for a long time now. I mean, even as a home builder, I actually helped created databases for some of our privatized systems. But I guess I first
Okay.
got introduced into PlanGrid when you get into the public sector, and
Yeah.
used PlanGrid for about 3 to 5 years. Really like PlanGrid, but the last, I'll say, 3 to 4 years, most of the companies I've worked for have used Procore. Um,
Yeah.
so it's a pretty easy tool. I mean, I've used it a lot. I'm familiar with most of the tools inside of it. Um, we were a lot better at the last company I worked at. I worked on a was the neatest project, the hardest company I ever worked for, but it was one of the neatest projects. I got to build a high school auditorium and theater, and it was amazing to
Nice.
build. But when you're doing schoolwork, it's a very competitive world out there. The margins are tight, meetings and notes are critical. And so we use, which I really
Yeah.
liked, is we did a good job of using the meetings tool in Procore. And I found out how beneficial, if it's really managed properly in Procore, that you could actually just basically track your meetings and just, keep using the same meeting format and just go forward each meeting.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good tools. As a super, am I the greatest at getting my dailies in? Every once in a while we all get a little weak in there, but I also
Yeah.
recognize the benefit of it. And I also will always say, pictures worth 1,000 words. Guys, get pictures. Just get pictures. Put in some notes and get as many
Right.
pictures as you can each day. I mean, four is, and I told them, you may have seen it. I said, I'm going to quiz you. If you watch that film or that training video on daily logs,
Yeah.
and it surprised me to hear you tell us that ha- only most people watched it for
Interesting
6 minutes and
development.
didn't finish
So
it.
yeah. Yes.
It's like, wow. And I will say, I was a little guilty myself because I started it and I went, this is a little bit redundant. I've seen some of this, so I stopped it and I got doing something else because I got busy. And then I've had a thought and I was like, you know what? You're going to ask guys to read this. You better watch it from back to forward. So I went back in and watched the entire thing just so I could truly make sure that I could, I don't like telling people to do things I'm not willing to do. So
Yeah.
I watched it, and again, it is something that I'm familiar with, but Procore's a good system. I like it.
Yeah. A lot of the training stuff we're trying to put together, I actually kind of had to go back and actually simplify it and cover more bases because we got a lot of guys, man, that they just, they haven't been exposed to technology much. And so, for them, just checking their emails and replying on emails is kind of, and I can't blame anybody for what they haven't been around, but the
No, those of us who got introduced to computers early, and
yeah,
I always praised my mother. I hated it at the time because she made me take typing in high school, but it was one of the biggest things that's helped me in my career. Is being able to sit and just type, run through emails. And of course, when you get into a little bit of operations and you write a lot of emails and communicate a lot, you just have to get better at that. And so, yeah, most of our guys, they're through. They're basically pecking it at the keypad for
yeah.
how to use and type, and just the benefit of having a little bit of college background in computers and being around it. And that's not
Well,
always
I think
true
for
in our
me,
industry.
yeah, I think for me, I started out, I was I guess in the early 2000s, I had my own home building business in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, and all the way up till Katrina hit.
Oh,
And
wow.
then, but I did all my own designs. And so it kind of exposed me to a lot of AutoCAD and design software. So that's kind of how I got into the computer stuff. And then, but ultimately, my actual career is, I've been a superintendent in multifamily for over 20 years now. And I was kind of the guy that, hey, I can't get my computer to come turn on. Will you help me out? Yeah, sure, no problem. But ended up at when I ended up at Fairway, um, they were struggling on a lot of things. They didn't even have an SOP established. They didn't have anything technology based or anything like that. So I've kind of been thrown into the loop on that, trying to get that up and going. Um, but
I will hand it to you that y'all are doing a good job, and I'm serious. I was really surprised for as small as Fairway is to have the SOPs that you guys have created are big, and really you just don't see
yeah,
that much in the companies this size. So good job, man. Glad to be part of this. Excited.
well, yeah, we've tried to put together something. So I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of share my screen here
Okay.
and just kind of run you through what I just did. Is I added you to the. I'll show you. Let me share my screen up here real quick. Let's see here. All right. Um, can you see the screen up here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I just added you to the field ops. That's kind of like the field ops leadership, with Ronnie and myself and Jonathan, Freddie, and Randy, and then kind of added you in here. So that's kind of where we just kind of keep little things for field ops. Actually, it's uh, really just kind of created that up there a couple weeks ago because we needed something, some kind of little central coordination place ourselves. But what I've done is I've gone in and started a project milestone schedule for all of our projects that are in the course of construction. And so I'm not sure if I still got to add in the Texas ones. I think Parkside, that's about the only Texas one. But
And where do you get that Parkside schedule? Did Ryan, the project manager, create it, or is it something that's created prior to?
I just pulled it straight off of the Parkside schedule and the Parkside from the Parkside project. Just took the
Okay,
milestones out of it and
very
just kind of
nice. Okay,
manually made it.
all right.
Um, just to kind of give you something we're working on now is I'm trying to get a scheduling software called Outbuild, trying to get it approved and implemented from the powers that be. Because I've used Microsoft Project Primavera for quite a while, and if you're computer literate and understand the technology, it works fine. But for a lot of these guys in the field they're responsible to keep up with the schedule, it's too much. It's too cumbersome, too complicated. So Outbuild is a more simpler construction only based software. So we're trying to get that worked on, and then hopefully in the next 6 months we'll see that up and implemented as well. But
I'd like to see
um,
that. I am familiar with Primavera. Matter of fact, that's the
yeah,
last scheduling tool that I used and have been kind of away from Microsoft Project for the last, I'll say,
yeah,
3 to 4 years. I mean, it was the primary thing I used a while back, but I just hadn't really looked at it much lately.
yeah. I use Microsoft Project now, just mainly because that's what they had the license for. I'm not, uh, but Microsoft Project is more for Silicon Valley than it is, construction.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought Primavera was pretty good. I did enjoy P6.
yeah, yeah, and
And it was complex, though. When I first, I was like, "Holy cow! Look at all the tools this thing has." And it
yeah,
did kind of mess with a lot of our superintendents.
yeah. So for the sake of trying to get these guys on board with scheduling stuff, we're going to try to see what we can do to get the powers to be to approve the implementation of Outbuild. I've had some pretty good luck with getting some project managers on board with me to try to push the VP Con to accept it. So we'll see where it
Good.
goes. I got a big meeting with all of them about it next week. So
Good
um,
luck.
yeah, yeah. They're just about bean counting. So you show them the beans. If you can show them the beans, then usually you get the purchase on it. But we'll see. Um,
If
the
it's really, it makes it easier for our field teams to use it, because I'm a little surprised how much the Texas teams are struggling with just the basic 3 week look ahead.
Yeah, yeah, it it's an endeavor. So, but that's what we got.
Hmm.
Do you see up here where my mouse is at the field ops? So I
Yes, sir.
have this linked in here. I have it at field ops, and I also have it at so there's also a sandbox page.
Okay.
Um, there's the sandbox page is kind of the page where the project where they can go and they can just screw it completely the fuck up. Just they can go in, play with it. Just it doesn't clutter up any of the data from the other projects, but it's kind of a practice project where they can go in, try it out, just play with it. But on that page, in the sandbox page, and on the field ops page, there's a couple links, and then it'll bring you to the SOP. So the SOP is built straight into Procore. And then we'll here's what I'll do. I'll take and go back here to the field ops page. So we kind of have our own little dedicated page. I'm working with the other departments to get their own little kind of the same thing going here. But I'll also drop the link here in the Teams chat box on this meeting so you can access it.
Okay, thank you.
And so here's kind of our field ops, and this is just kind of a overview of the landing page. And you'll see all of this when I go over it with them Thursday with everybody. I just kind of wanted to give you a preview if there was any
Appreciate that.
questions or anything that you may have beforehand, because I know as well as a senior leader, nobody likes to be caught with the I wish I would have could have in front of all the other guys. So
Right.
But
observations.
So these are basically Procores, for lack of a better term. These are basically Procores rubber stamped instructions. So they have those options to kind of, this is what Procore offers to be able, as far as like training.
Right.
And then,
Observations. I see. Okay, observations.
and these are kind of the certifications I would highly recommend that, and we'll go over it Thursday, but all your guys will be required to go ahead and go through this superintendent certification course.
I think I have 2 of those certificates, but it's
Usually,
always good to refresh. Just because I had 2 different companies that had me using Procore.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
always good.
absolutely.
It's always good. Refreshers are always good. It's no big deal. I'll go right through it.
Oh yeah. I think it's about a 2-hour little course. So, but then when they once they get their little certification and everything, they'll send it to me and I'll record it and log it. And then of course everybody that gets hired on new should probably go through and do it. And then here's kind of some safety stuff. This is our orientation videos. This is where they're located at. It basically gets them introduced. Every subcontractor, every crewman, everybody that comes and works on the job site has to go through that orientation.
Is there a sign off or signature that we get for them on it? So we record
Yeah,
that
you can
they
just,
done it.
you can get kind of, print out your own little sign off. And just what I do on my project is I keep a little binder with a little sign off sheet. When they come
Okay.
into the trailer, I'll run them through it. The safety guy, Stacy,
Hmm.
he has stickers that I'm sure at some point they'll get you a couple rolls of stickers out there too. Hard hat stickers,
Yeah, he gave me
but
some when I was in
basic.
the Columbus office just 2 weeks
Okay,
ago.
there you go.
So yeah.
So once they go through this orientation um, and sign off on the sign sheet, um, then they get a hard hat sticker. And so if you're walking around and you don't see anybody with the hard hat sticker, then they got to come back into the office and go through the orientation.
Right.
So, um, and it's English and Spanish. I can tell you, honest to God, I've only had one meeting in English, and all the other ones have been in Spanish. So,
It's that way nowadays.
if
It is that way.
so, um, and then here's so if OSHA ever shows up to your job site, this is where you kind of want to open up. And Steve's kind of got us a little checklist running down here as far as what we're supposed to do in case of an OSHA visit. So um, hopefully the guys would, and we'll go over it Thursday. Hopefully the guys will kind of familiarize themselves with it before OSHA ever shows up.
Oh, absolutely.
But in case they do show up, so because every company has different policies. The previous company I worked with before I came to Fairway, their policy was simple: they can't come on our site unless they got a warrant. I'm like, well, yeah, you just asking for problems then. So,
Yeah.
but that was their policy, and I guess they had their reasons. But um, um, but needless to say, our policy is a little more uh, typical standard construction. Walk them around, show them. You know,
Yeah. You got to be
um,
respectful. I mean, I had companies that told me that they want, you have the right to ask them to wait until your safety manager or your boss gets there.
yes, yeah,
But tread lightly with that.
yeah, and don't offer any information they don't ask
No.
for. So
Right.
just kind of a common sense approach, really, in my opinion. But um, and then you'll see kind of scattered out through it. I put these little introductory videos. This is kind of a video that Freddie kind of wanted me to come up with. It's just kind of hey, this is what we're doing. This is what change is about. The world's evolving, our company's evolving. So, and then this is just kind of an introductory video here. So, um, and then from there, you just click on straight to the SOP. And so now keep in mind also too that I started building all of this from a blank slate. So
Yeah.
all of
How
the
long you
web
been working at
pages and
this?
about 4 months.
Oh, wow.
So
That's a lot of work in 4 months, to be honest with you.
yeah, yeah. So it's and I was by no means a web designer when I started any of this. So I've kind of been kind of crash coursing myself too as I go. So by no means is it perfect. I'm just a fucking backwoods redneck that learned how to build. Um, so if you ever see any issues or problems with it, feel free just to let me know.
Sure.
Broken links
My
or
pleasure.
anything like that. I'm basically just trying to piece something together that'll kind of, in some ways, move things forward with the company. But so here's basically. It's just kind of a project mobilization. Um, and then 1.6, this abatement and demolition. We had some problems on a couple projects, not understanding what the abatement and demolition process was. So I've just recently added this one. Um, and
Where
then
did
it kind
you
of gets more into the field.
where did you get your information for the abatement and demolition?
Um, well, a lot of research. um,
Yeah, I say it's quite
I yeah,
complex. It's been
yeah,
a while, but
a
I
lot
used to
of
do a lot of remodeling, and so I was lead
yeah.
certified, but I hadn't picked up that lead book and lead paint certified, for remediation. But I hadn't looked at that in a long, long time.
I've got a crap ton of books on digital file that I've collected over the years. Here, let me see here if I can. Um, so these are kind of all of my little. I keep a lot of these, all these reference books here,
Very nice.
um, and so yeah. So most of it is a long collection of just shit that I've read and learned over the years. So it kind of has all compiled itself into most of it's all kind of compiled itself into ultimately the SOP and just experience really. So it's
Sure,
just, trying to get what you do on a daily basis from the back of your head on the paper. That was the, you know,
sure. Not as easy as it
but
sounds, to be honest with you. It is takes a little work to be able to put it in writing.
yeah. And then, but I tried to make it as clear and as concise as I possibly could, but we'll see what the fruits of the endeavor is. And then each section kind of has like a little introduction video. Um, you'll see those kind of come up on Thursday. So it just kind of gives a little brief introduction to it. So for the little introduction videos, I utilize some of Google's AI just to put them together. So kind of in like a little podcast format. So
Very nice.
um, and then so all of these links, they all have, you know, I would say 9 times out of 10, when somebody calls me and asks me a question, the first thing I do is, hey, did you look for it on the SOP and go through it? And then I'll walk them through it on that. Usually it's pretty well covered on the SOP. So,
Very nice.
um, and then, so now that we have an SOP established for the company, then we realized, well, now we got to train them. So
Now we have to
you can
explain
have
it.
the black and white and the procedures all day long, but if you don't train them how to use it, then it's kind of a pointless endeavor. So that's where the idea for the training center came up with. So and this is the training center. So for lack of a better term, um, it's a work in progress. You can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 5 modules built out. I just built this one out here recently with that little video. And then
The
I got a
daily
couple
log.
more up here. Yeah. Got a couple more up here I've got on the list, and I'm sure it'll grow and grow as time goes on. But um this here is a very, very good this is a very good tool that Procore has just now added. It's basically their AI.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Yeah.
Procore AI.
Yeah. And so it's pretty helpful as far as, a time saver as far as getting around and getting through Procore, because the more Procore provides tools, well, the more it grows. So the more it grows, the more it is you end up clicking 20 times to get to where you need. So this kind of makes that process a little simpler. So in each module, of course, it's got kind of an objective. prerequisites to the module of learning what's in it, little tags, and then of course it's got a little guided walkthrough here. Kind of condensed little accordion drop downs that you can click on and it'll go through with you. And it's got different little scenarios. And then it's got basically, for lack of a better term, it's got did you actually learn it? And what'd you learn from it kind of quiz. And then it's also got some extra Procore links. So,
and we see who's done that quiz. Like, it just made me think about, there's a lot of good components in here I see, and
yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how I can kind of, I want the superintendents here in Texas to start leaning on each other, communicating a little bit. But and to
Yeah.
do that, it helps for us to. I was thinking about pulling a biweekly meeting of just the superintendents, and I would
Yeah.
maybe give them a task to go do before our meeting, and then we would discuss it in the meeting. And I'd love to see that they took that test and just pick different links to go through with them.
Yeah. At this point, I haven't really put it into where
So
it'll notify me.
it's all right. I can
But
always just give the test to them
yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. If y'all read it and you said you did, here's a test. Let's see how we do.
Yeah. It's like I said, by no means when I started this 4 months ago was I a web designer, so I'm kind of in the fuck around and find out phase myself.
Sure.
But yeah, eventually we do want to kind of evolve it to where it does send us a report or an email or something saying, "Hey, such and such went through it." But right now, just trying to get it off the ground and get it rolling. Just But any ideas that you have as you kind of get in and get more involved with your guys and you kind of see, their strengths and weaknesses, by all means, if there's something that I can add or include to the training center, just please let me know. I'd be more than
Yes,
happy
sir.
to. Because what I've done is I basically have built in computer code the framework for each module. So it's kind of like I have the blueprint for it, each and everything, the template blueprint now for it. So creating another module that covers a different topic is now it maybe takes me just a couple hours to build it out. So
Oh, okay.
um, the first one took me probably 2 weeks to build it out. So,
Sure.
But just getting the computer code, the framework, and all that, now something comes up. Let's say close out, procedure or something like that. It wouldn't take me but a couple hours to build a little training module for it. So, so yeah, that's kind of what we'll be covering Thursday. And then just to give you another little bit of a background here, outside of field operations. So, so now that we did that for field operations, now Robert Quarles is having me work with all the other departments to do the same thing. So now we're building out the same thing for PM, compliance, pre-con, warranty, so forth, so on, which actually puts us at an advantage because now I get to cross-reference and make sure that what they are beginning to do and their SOPs aligns with our SOP.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
So, yeah. Because when I first came on board, there was every project there was nothing consistent about. You go from one project to another project and it would be night and day difference between how they were running. So, and everybody is certain that how they run it is the best way to run it.
The best and
And it's
only way.
yeah, and it's kind of like, hey, look, this isn't about which way to skin a cat is the best way. It's about we all have to pick one way and do it consistently, because these subs, they have to know that if they're coming to a project, they're not coming to John's project and just next they're going to Bob's project. They have to just know that it's a fairway project consistently across the board. So
Right.
especially as we're wanting to expand across different regions and multiple states and so forth. So but so I guess this is kind of the Q&A part. So if you got any questions or anything, I'm happy to, kind of
I don't think
walk you
so. I
through
think
it.
what I'd like to do is now that you've kind of opened my, and I did receive this from you early on. That's one of the things I
Yeah.
went and looked at, and I found it where you'd sent it when I first came to work here, like the first week. So I haven't dug into it, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
dig into it over the next couple days, and it may have me asking questions prior to your meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's kind of,
But I do want to dig into it, and you kind of spending this time with me, and thank you, opened my mind, getting me kind of looking at it again, gives me a little bit of focus. And I'm gonna pop in a lot of these different tools and videos and just kind of start going through them. I sent an email today about the daily logs and the meetings
yeah, I
that
seen
I
that.
want those guys to do, and just trying to get used to them
Yeah.
having me give them information and telling you, hey, these are things we need to do. And I like the way you said it's, yeah, the idea of skinning the cat, you may have a little bit better way, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, we all have to skin this cat the same
Yeah.
because we're all one team. And so
Yeah.
it's something we want to present towards our subs, our project management team, our bosses, Freddie and Devin. They need to see us kind of acting and looking somewhat similar, not completely, identical. And I do
Yeah.
like the uniqueness of everyone. They bring different things to the table, but you still have to do certain key points. And so I think this is fantastic, Colin.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. If you got questions or anything more than, not just this week, but any week, I
Thank you.
guess I'm kind of the, you know, I guess I'm kind of the Procore guy now. So,
Does anybody call you from Texas?
Matt does and Robert does.
Okay. Matt tells me he does. I didn't know that Robert was doing.
Yeah.
Ro-
Occasionally, once in a while, Robert does, but yeah. And I think Matthew also calls Jonathan a lot of times too. So,
I think he mentioned
um,
that to me too. But that's good. I'm
yeah,
glad. But those are guys that have been around a little longer
yeah,
too, and know you guys. And I guess especially Matt and Robert went and helped out in the Georgia area. I guess I've
yeah,
understood. So that
yeah,
certainly brings them a little closer to you, and it makes them a familiarity of easy to call you. If they've met somebody or they talk to you, it makes it much easier to pick up the phone and give them a call.
yeah. And I'm still getting to know a lot of the guys. John's been around for I think 4 or 5 years in the company. I've just been here 14 months. Um,
Wow.
so I'm still, getting to put faces to names and all that fun stuff. But you know, I look at it as I've built a pretty damn good portfolio for my career as a superintendent, and so now I'm open to pass along whatever I've learned or knowledge base. I had a really good mean old ass mentor myself, and so I'm hoping that pass along some of the whatever these guys need to learn to be successful at their career is kind of my objective now. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's real excitement for me in what we do, and
oh yeah,
teaching people how to do it well and be proud of what they're doing and understand the ownership of what we're creating is exciting. I always love it. I kind of accidentally fell into it. Had no idea how I got here.
yeah,
I know how I got here, but I did not have a plan to come this way. But man, I sure have enjoyed my career, and it has
yeah. I
taught me
have,
lots.
I have too. Like I said, I started out I had my own residential business, and then Hurricane Katrina came along and kind of wiped that out, and so I was like, I'm not. I was raising a family at the time. I had custody of two daughters, and I was like, I can't do this feast and famine shit. So
Yeah.
I ended up going in '06. Capstone Communities was starting a construction arm of their company called Cottage Builders, and I was the second hire that they had made for them. So that's how I got into multifamily and loved it ever since. So,
Interesting. You
um,
you you mentioned Katrina, and at
yeah.
Katrina, I was in Biloxi
Oh shit.
Saturday night before the storm hit on Sunday evening, Monday. I was with Syntex Homes. We were
Okay.
we had a operations meeting there where we had all of our field personnel for Syntex Homes in the Southwest had all met in Biloxi for a kind of a team building, and they managed to call us in at about 8 o'clock at night and said, "Look, we want to re-meet at 10 at night because we got to figure out how to get out of here. We got
Yeah.
we got 200 guys that are the essential to our building construction in the South, and we're in
Yeah.
trouble. This storm's coming."
Biloxi is not the place to be because I think they got two bridges off the.
Yeah, and so they ended up getting buses sent up from Tampa to Biloxi, picked us up at 3:30 in the morning,
Damn.
and we ended up getting on those buses and going to New Orleans. And I caught a flight out of New Orleans at about 10 o'clock Sunday morning. And I'll just never forget that. I mean, I had a baggage handler guy handing me luggage, and he's like, "Man, you're lucky." And it was just kind of, oh wow, And then as I flew away and got home to safety and heard about everything that Katrina did, I just has always left a mark on me.
Yeah, it was a very surreal experience. You know, I mean, I know it impacted us all the way, probably all the way into Pensacola,
Oh,
but
sure,
it
sure.
just, but I
I
was
think I was,
fortunate. At the time I was, I was kind of pissed because, I built a business, because of FEMA rezoning the floodplain. I wasn't able to, none of my clients were able to get construction approval from the
right.
underwriters
No longer.
until they got so I had everything that was in the pipeline was, it basically fell off the books. So, but now I look back and I was fortunate because 2 years later, the '08, bubble busted, and I was
Yeah.
sitting securely and working and steadily going in multifamily. So it didn't, you know. So at the time, I was like, "Damn, this sucks." But then I realized it could have been worse. So
Yeah. People have asked me, why don't you do your own business? Because, and I'll tell them, I just was too afraid of the feast and famine. I mean, I
yeah,
had two kids and a wife, and I
yeah,
liked the paycheck and the insurance. I
yeah.
just
That's what.
wasn't willing to take that risk with them. And
Yeah, and that's what I came to the conclusion was, it was a good experience having my own business, but the feast and famine, it wasn't worth it to my family. So
it's not, it wasn't for me. And some people make it, but it is, boy, it's always by the skin of their chin.
and
But when they make it, it goes. But boy, there's a tough 5 to 10 years. And I just didn't want to do that with babies.
I've got a couple friends that have their own residential companies, and there's not a week that goes by they are not stressed out about payroll,
Yeah.
and on the surface, they got a pretty nice life, but when it comes to business, it's literally week to week, month to month, and it's not the luxurious setting that everybody would think it appears to be. It's a constant steady of, am I getting my vendors paid? Am I getting my subs paid? And it's just not for me. So more
No.
power to them. But um, so so where exactly do you call home at in Texas?
I'm in, I say Austin if you don't know. I mean, you
Okay.
might know a little bit
Yeah.
because you're familiar, but I'm in a city called Round Rock, which is about
Okay.
30
Yeah.
miles, 20 miles north of downtown Austin.
I
Uh,
actually have an ex fiance that was from Round Rock. So
oh, very nice. But
yeah.
when people ask me, because I am from Texas, I was born in the Golden Triangle, Beaumont, Port Arthur area.
Okay.
Then I was raised in Wichita Falls, where I went to high school. And then I went to college in Central Texas at Southwest Texas. And
You've been all
immediately
over.
after, yeah, even after all that moving, it gave me a buzz to move more. So I threw my resume up in the wind in '95 and ended up going to Pensacola. And from there, I went from Pensacola to Atlanta to Nashville to Vegas to North Carolina and then back to Texas in 2016. So 21 years later, came back to
Yeah.
Texas and have been here kind of, and I didn't plan to come back. Didn't really, didn't think about, oh, I miss Texas. I want to go home. I always thought to myself, I miss the food, I miss the
Yeah.
people, but the weather is hell. I don't miss it. And, but when I looked around, I kind of got lucky in 2008 as well, because when the boom ended, I was in Vegas and I
Okay.
could see it. I could see it coming. And a buddy of mine called me up and said, "Hey man, I got a gig that I think you'd like." He said it's a 5-year contract with the Department of Navy rebuilding military housing.
Oh, there
And
you
so
go.
it opened up me up to, a very high level of commercial, federal
Yeah.
government work, all the Davis Bacon stuff that's required. And you talk about multifamily. I mean, we're doing duplexes and
Yeah.
quadplexes, and we'll release
Yeah.
400 at a time. And so
Yeah.
we
You're doing
drop,
1,500, 2,000
yeah.
unit projects.
I mean, in all, it was a 9-year gig for me. I was there from 2008 to 2016,
Yeah.
and we did roughly 5,000 homes across 5 military bases on the Atlantic coast. Went from North Carolina, Cherry Point, Camp Lejeune, Beaufort, South Carolina. Um, oh, what's the Marine training base? Paris Island,
Yeah.
down into
Paris
that
Island.
area too. And then there were a couple up in the Norfolk area bases that we were working on.
Okay.
But that kind of,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun and brought me into the whole world of multifamily. And it's a nice segue from home building. And I like it a lot. I got to do a college dorm at University of Texas. Had built a 60 room for it was a podium build of 4 floors above the podium for
Okay.
a fraternity, Sigma Chi, here at the University of Texas. That was a lot of fun too. My first podium build.
Yeah. I've done a couple podiums and I've done a couple raps. Um, so they're fun, but ultimately I came to Fairway actually to get away from a lot of that because I was like, okay, I'm ready to put some roots down and slow my roll some because you know as well as I do on big projects, it's not a it's not a 40-hour a week endeavor. You're eating, sleeping, breathing the project.
Oh yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It is. And people like they get excited and they go, well, it's good money. Yeah, it can be good money, man, but they get
Yeah.
every bit of your time. There is no personal time
Yeah.
at all. Yeah, you can have all that money for that. I don't need it.
Yeah. And so Fairway's been a good fit for me for what I was looking for. Yeah. Some really good people with the company. So I
Have
like
you
it
been in
here.
the Atlanta area a while, or are you actually somewhere else?
Um, well, I guess I kind of landed here. I was doing some travel superintendent work for a company out of Missouri. Ended up doing a refrigeration warehouse in Atlanta. And then when I got to Atlanta, they introduced me to a company called Ecker Construction out here that was doing light commercial and wanted to get into multifamily. And so I got into multifamily with them, but then the culture that I found with them was not what I was really looking for. And then so I found Fairway. So I kind of just ended up traveling and ended up landing here. And when I got here, I liked it here. I like the mountains, and I got a house on the lake here now. So
You up at Lake
this is
Lanier?
yeah, on Lake Lanier. Yeah,
Very
it's
nice.
right in my backyard. So It's
It's beautiful, man. I spent a lot of days on that lake when
well,
I was there. I liked it a lot. I also
yeah,
liked
next,
North Georgia. I forgot, like, was it
yeah,
Helena? Going to the German
Helena,
festival. Yeah, going up to Helena. There's some good
yeah,
times. And I
yeah,
was a
you
young
got,
man back then too. I was single.
yeah,
It's a whole different world.
yeah. Well, that's I got I got divorced back in 2012, and so when I was married and was raising my family and all that, I didn't really realize the benefits of some of the student housing areas. But once I got divorced and was single, I kind of took in all the benefits of building student housing and the college life and the campus life and some of that stuff. But then it got old, and I was like, I need to grow back up and find something a little bit more conducive to a person my age. So
And a family life.
yes, family life. So I got an amazing girlfriend now. We'll eventually at some point. We've been together for 2 years now.
Very
She's a
nice.
nurse out at the she's a nurse out at the hospital. So she's she's a grown ass woman who handles her business and takes care of life, and you know so I'm very
Good for you,
very
man.
happy. So
Well, I somehow survived. I will tell you, it kind of rang a bell. You said 2012. You
yeah,
you had you divorced, and for about 2010 to about 2014, I didn't know if my wife and I were going to make it, but
yeah,
we managed to pull through. We've been together 29 years now.
hell yeah, there you go.
So, but it ain't easy. And it's something that I have to
Mm,
tell other people. I said, it's something you have to try to make happen. It don't
yeah,
just happen. You got to fight to make it happen. You got to want it.
and it takes both fighting for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If one's not willing to fight for it, you're just wasting your energy. So,
You want
um, but yeah, I've been. I would say I'm not a religious guy, but I would definitely say I've been blessed in life. So I'm looking forward to see what the golden years have in store.
and unfortunately, they're sneaking up on us fast.
Yeah, that morning wake up call don't go as quick as it used to. So
Mm-mm, it's tough. I'm lucky. I have my dad alive, and he's 86, and
wow,
just seeing him and seeing how hard it is and the fight he's having just to want to be there,
yeah,
and just the struggles of old age and golly, man, it's a little scary and daunting and eye opening. And go, okay, got to start enjoying life. Get as much out as you can. You are in the golden years, and you don't have to work so damn hard. Find a good place you like. It doesn't have to be the greatest of money. Just
yeah,
enjoy what you do. Try to teach other people how to do it and remind them that it's a great industry to be in.
yeah. It's I think the last couple of years I've kind of set my mind more towards living life than trying to build a life. So
Yeah.
I'm 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 fortunate that you know I mean I have house payment, vehicle payments, but I'm in no debt or anything like that. And I don't have to worry about my bills getting paid or anything. So it makes things a lot more enjoyable. I got my first grandkid about 6 months ago, so that's
I
been
know.
fun
Look
as
at
hell.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. My first grandson was born January 25th,
There you
and
go.
now
Yeah.
my daughter's pregnant with another one. I'm like, baby,
Hey, take a breather.
they can breathe it. Yeah, she's gonna have two of them within 13 months of each other. I'm like, girl, that's gonna be some work. Now
Yeah.
she knows that it is because her and her sister are only 14 months apart.
Oh
And I
wow.
was pretty sure that my wife was gonna cut me off in my sleep if I didn't go get fixed because she was pissed. She was
Yeah.
not happy about being pregnant a second time.
Uh, yeah. So well, so I guess if if anything ever comes up,
I'll
um,
call you, Colin, for sure.
yeah, absolutely,
You're
just
very
give me a call.
easy to talk to, and I thank you for your time today to get to know you. And yeah, I'm gonna spend some time next week, kind of digging into this information, start looking at it, and at the very least, maybe I'll ask the most questions in your training to keep people
Okay.
kind of engaged. because hopefully we get people asking you questions about it
Yeah.
and talking about it and engaging in those trainings and not just sitting there listening, because you never really know when it's an online training who's really paying attention.
Yeah, you got most of these guys. Me personally, I'm gonna ask if I don't know. I'm gonna ask. I'm that I can't stand coming across something I have that is being presented that I don't know or understand. But a lot of guys they don't want to engage because they for some reason they think it exposes what they don't know. But
Yeah.
to me it's a strength to ask questions. So
Oh, it is. It's huge. But I always remind my superintendent, I said, you're going to have your meetings and people will talk about the stuff. But I said, it's important that you're available after the meeting because you're going to have a
yeah,
lot of guys that are too afraid to speak up in meeting for whatever
yeah,
reason. So it's really nice that you give those guys time to come tell you things.
yeah,
They might not want to say something because they're afraid that it might bother the plumber.
yeah,
Well, tell me about it. And you don't have to call it out. But yes, use that time wisely. And again, people will
yeah.
ask questions, but you got to open the format for them to do it.
I would rather, I tell guys all the time, it's better to have information you don't need than to not have information you need. So,
Yeah, for sure.
um, but yeah, you a football fan by chance?
I am unfortunately a Cowboy fan for my entire life, and it's painful. But yes, I do like to follow it. I'm not big because I've been lucky enough to live all
Yeah,
over. I mean, I got friends that are Dog fans. I got friends that are UT fans. I got Aggie friends, of course.
yeah,
Texas State has just now put together a decent football program, but I like watching football as we get into the college series. As we get into the college series, pros, I pretty
yeah,
much watch every weekend. Um, but I got a little bit of loyalty to everybody. I mean, Cowboys are my favorite, but after living in Atlanta, there's a little bit of enjoy watching the Falcons.
yeah.
I like them
Um,
all.
I, I didn't really, uh, I didn't really have a pro team I was a fan of, but I think I'm kind of sadly adopting the Falcons now. But I've been a Alabama fan my whole life, so the reason why I bring that up is, yeah, I'm available at any time, anywhere, except when Bama's playing. So when Bama's playing, I
All
shut
right, I'll keep
everybody off.
that. I don't blame you. Uh, Tried and true, roll tide.
Oh yeah.
Being from where you are, I would expect nothing more.
Well, my youngest son, his middle name is Saban, if that gives you any kind of idea. So
Man, it does. Holy
yeah.
cow.
So I
Uh,
loved it. I loved it a couple weeks ago because I'm right here in the middle of,
oh
well, my
yeah.
next door neighbor, strangely enough, my neighbor is an Alabama fan, but everybody else in the neighborhood is a Georgia
Mhm.
fans. So,
Oh yeah, they're dogs, man. They're just dogs through and through. And you guys, that was a good game. And y'all pulled that
oh
off and
God, yeah,
won, right? It was a
yeah,
fantastic
yeah.
game.
Yeah. This year is I think I had 5 heart attacks in that game, 3 heart attacks when they're playing Vanderbilt.
Well, I
But
think if I remember early in the game, they were saying that I mean, it's kind of night and day. Alabama has
yeah,
beat Georgia 90% of the games.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you've always had their number. No matter how good they are, you've always been able just to take them out, and that's just got to be hard on them, hard on those guys.
It is. It's killing them because they got this really great team, and they got this great team because they brought Kirby Smart out of Alabama to have that great team with the intentions of being better than Alabama. And they have absolutely just kicked the shit out of everybody the last 5 years, except
Yeah,
the one
Alabama.
team that they really wanted to dominate. So, but
It does
such as
it changes on them though, because if Tennessee gets hot, oh man, it's all on Tennessee. But I will tell you, Alabama and Georgia have been the strongest SEC teams for a good, like you said, 5 or 7 years. You hadn't seen
yeah,
anything out of Florida in a long time. Hadn't seen Tennessee do much of anything.
yeah, yeah, and
LSU's
LSU
still
is on
out
the
there.
downside. Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of hit and
So
miss.
I have my mom is born and bred coon ass, true coon ass as you can be coon ass. And she's a huge LSU fan. So back, 10 years ago when it was a big LSU Alabama rivalry,
Yeah.
that woman would literally not talk to me the week before and the week after. So
Where is she from?
she's from there's a little town outside of Lake Charles called DeQuincy.
I know it.
Probably not too far from it's about an hour and a half from Beaumont, as a matter of
Yeah,
fact.
no, I know it. I mean, being born in the Golden Triangle area,
Yeah,
we always call it Lapland. It's where Louisiana laps into Texas. So
yeah,
there are a
yeah,
lot of my kinfolk come from Louisiana and in that area, the Lake
yeah,
Charles. Yeah, and just we
yeah.
just
So when you're coming from say you're going from Beaumont, Orange area to Lake Charles, when you get to Sulphur, you turn and go north. Is kind of where
okay.
they're from. So, and then
I
I was
know the
actually,
name Quincy.
yeah, I was actually
Quincy.
born in Golden Meadow, and so I was first 4 or 5 years of my childhood. I was raised on the Chaffalaya there. So
Oh
so
wow,
much
nice.
so much so that when we moved back to Alabama and I started in school, the teachers put me in speech class. So
Lord.
yeah.
Yeah, there is that. My
Yeah.
daughter's actually has gone to LSU, and she's actually living in Baton Rouge
Mhm.
right now. The one that had
Oh,
has my
nice. Yeah.
grandson. Now she's actually here today, and we're going to a wedding tonight
Okay.
of some cousins of ours,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
why I'm heading out here shortly.
I did a 18-acre 362 unit project in Baton Rouge, off of Ben Hur. So it amazed me how they could stick that campus in the middle of the ghetto. But
Yeah, yeah.
LSU is a hell. They some rabid dog fans there. I'll tell you that much.
They are. They lose their damn minds.
Oh yeah,
Um, I have yet to go see one of their games, but more importantly, I've always wanted to go see a Saints game. I hear the
yeah,
Saints games are just fantastic. The fans are fun.
yeah.
I
There's
mean,
the it's and everybody because of where the stadium is there, everybody always. I mean, the after the game, it dwindles another 5 hours into Bourbon Street. So
yeah, it does. We're actually, my wife and I were married in New Orleans because
okay, nice.
we lived in Pensacola
Okay.
together before we got married, and we had left Texas, and our family was in Texas, and we were in Pensacola, and we were like, we don't really want to have a wedding here, but we don't want to plan a wedding in Texas either while we're here.
Yeah,
And so it just dawned on my wife, why don't we have it in New Orleans? And I'm like, are you out of your mind? That is the nastiest, stinkiest city I've
yeah,
ever been in. Because you go down there, and
yeah.
Bourbon Street's nasty.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
I'm like, no way. But then she took me down there, and you start looking at the Garden District and all the other
yeah,
beautiful areas, and you realize, oh, this place is nice. Just avoid Bourbon Street. But Bourbon Street has its purpose. Don't get me wrong. I've spent some time
yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah.
saw some interesting things. But that
Oh,
the
that
thought of
was
getting married there just kind of threw me. But then when we kind of saw the Garden District and all the different beautiful things that are around there, I'm like, oh yeah, this could work.
yeah,
And it was fun. It was a
yeah.
good fun wedding.
That little Audubon setting's real nice and historical there. So,
Yeah.
but well, yeah. So, yeah, I'll let you get back to it, and like I said,
Well,
anything that
Colin,
comes
thank you
up,
for your
just let me
time.
know.
I look forward to meeting you in person one day. I hope that happens soon.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
thank you again, and I'll be in touch.
All right, Greg. You have a good weekend, bud.
You too, bud. Bye. Thank you, place. is. Empty alternation is the connecting, is connecting, is the same area in the grip. It connects.